we can all doll it up and make it sound cool and say, hey, we did 60 million, we did 12 million, whatever that number is, but that don't show all the struggle.
No, the struggle that's been the biggest struggle is the passion that I care about people like Clyde getting the results from my system. Because it's one thing to get results for yourself, but when I had to design my system, I had to figure out, how can we make the easiest for roofers? How can we make this so that they have to do the littlest amount to have success? And how do we make it to where even somebody like Dustin, who's working for a $60,000 a year job, can afford to do this with little to no money? And I built a system that could actually work. Now, it's been 5 years. I've been crucified in the roofing industry. People called me names. They've looked at me. They say I'm not a real person, or that look, the bottom line is that now, 2 years into our Sky Diamonds Elite program, 5 years into our university, 700 plus roofers can't be wrong. And the 50 guys that show up for my weekly coaching call, some of these guys have added 8 figures to the bottom line, at least 10 of them 7 figures to their pockets. And those kind of results, I don't see them coming through a video training platform. I don't see them coming from a digital marketer who doesn't have any roofing experience. Why? Because I combine digital marketing with building door-to-door sales teams. And how are you going to take advice from about building a door-to-door sales team from someone who doesn't have one or never had one? I mean, honestly, it's very frustrating for me. I want to lead. I want to learn from people who lead by example. And, it's frustrating for me that everyone doesn't realize the example that I set. I've stood behind every roof. I've stood behind every promise with sales guys. I paid every manager. The amount of actual results, you've seen the testimonials, whether it's, I don't have to get into all the details, whether it's, guys like Tyler Melton growing to a $13 million company, or, guys like Ricardo Castellanos, who landed a $2 million job with $1 million in profit, that is named the Loya family. These are billionaire Hispanic business people. And what happened is that Ricardo was friends with the Loyas. If you ever go to El Paso, they're the most famous family in El Paso. And basically, because Rick was friends with the daughter of Loya, runs the whole thing. And Rick he's a cool guy. He goes and hangs out with his whole life, the husband of the daughter of the super rich people. They're literally billionaires. All right, so all their roofs Rick doesn't get to do because Rick's looked at like the party bud. He's in the friend zone. He's not in the serious roofer zone, right? Well, we generated a lead through Facebook on this YMCA. We turn a repair into replacement. We get a $2 million settlement. They had donated to the YMCA. Their name's on the YMCA. Now Rick goes into the good graces of the Loyas. I'm sitting at a steakhouse across from this billionaire woman with a client that I made $1 million off of one job, and I'm thinking, wow, this is what it's all about. And, it's not about the money, but, whenever basically everyone inspires me to be pushing myself. So whether it's the recruiting funnel has to be recruited, so the lead generation method has to be improved, or the system for bringing on knock stars. One of our best additions to our program this year has come from a client. You know what it was? It was a combination of how Indeed is used with my recruiting funnel. I used to hate on Indeed. And one of the ways that I separate from other coaches, say, the Cutco method, or let's say the cold call on the resume method that comes from other coaches, was I would say, look, dude, you want to build organically through your social media profile. You want to use a funnel. You want to use, you get better quality recruits that way. Well, that's true. You do. But you also can take all the good people that are hungry off of Indeed, basically get them through automated messaging to a Zoom call, a recruiting funnel, give them more information about your company, separate the serious from the curious, get them into an online training platform, get them trained, and get them bought in before, so you waste no time on the losers, and you can bring in cold traffic from the job boards. Now, that this year, that little change, that little iteration, I think in the last 8 weeks, I've hired about 25 people like that, and I learned from my client. It's something that because I was all hating on Indeed and stuff like that. Mike, what do you think about what makes a good conference? You've been to a bunch of these conferences. I mean, what do you think? What do you look for at this RoofCon?
Look to grow as a person. I want to be around people that are doing better than myself. I want to be the dumbest person in the room always. That's why I'm here today, is because I want to get with Lee. He's going to help me up my circle game. And it's more than just the money. It's actually being able to help people and help them grow. It's about the growth of yourself and helping other people. And I think a lot of people in the roofing industry, they don't care about their clients. They just give a fuck about, I want to make a boat payment or a car payment, and they don't actually care. But if you actually put in some passion and care about your clients, it's going to get you a lot further. You're going to get referrals. You're going to have repeat customers. I mean, I was able to do my second year in the business, $1.3 million without knocking a door. That's because I had cared about my clients, got them the best thing, and I wanted to be the best version of myself, and I help other people magnify their purpose. And that's why I'm here, to learn and grow with you.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, first day Mike was in town, he went to the boxing gym and puked. And the boxing coach was like, the boxing coach was like, you know what, Lee? You got a good team.
I went back the next day.
I know the guy. He's like, literally, he fought Chavez for a championship belt. He's a badass motherfucker. But he's like, man, Lee, you got a good team. That's two people that you brought in here. They made themselves puke. Most people will stop before they have to puke. But I mean, that brings us into like mind, body, and soul. Like, I can talk to you about marketing, sales strategy, how to sell a commercial. But if you have like positive thoughts but negative feelings, your positive thoughts are completely canceled out. If you woke up hungover, you're behind on the 8 ball and your phone's blowing up, there's this anxiety and temper that starts to boil inside of you, and it's hard to create with that fight or flight. Yep. And the only way that you really can be the person you want to be is actually work hard at being a good person, being in shape, and having a relationship with God. And beyond that, you can learn to do all these things that are powerful. But if you don't have that, you've got the 3 great equalizers. You've got drugs and alcohol. That's took out a lot of people. Whether you drink too much, whether you freaking have a drug problem that, is just minor, slows you down off of your potential, or you have something that's major that you could die from or could lose everything from. Okay? Then you got basically money. These people that are so short-sighted, they don't realize the long game of the whole deal. And, it's just hilarious for me to watch these people. They constantly are eating their own arm, per se.
It's just having self-awareness, man. That to me, that's been like one of the biggest things that's helped me grow in the last couple of years, is having self-awareness and having the ability to be my own critic, right? And I think a lot of people in our industry struggle with that. And that's one thing that we have to, as leaders and the voice of this industry, is let people know it's okay to be wrong, right? But any situation that we go on moving from this point forward, we have to go in with an open mind and a full heart.
Absolutely.
And if you can't do that, you're always just going to be the small guy in the room. Now, do you always want to be the biggest guy in the room? Absolutely not. Sometimes it's all, like you said, it's always better to be the guy that comes in and learns and learns how to shut up and listen, right? But we have so many people in this industry that have such big egos that they're not able to do that. They're not able to push that stuff out of the way and admit when you're wrong and take the correct training from the people that have done it the right way. And even if you want to put your own twist on it, that's fine. But you have to be willing to understand when you're wrong, be your biggest critic, and be able to
be okay with that.
Yeah, and be okay with it. You got to be able to self-reflect on it, man. Like, when I fail, I have to take responsibility for my failures.
Let me tell you about a time I failed in Atlanta, where you were from. I only did $2 million the first year. When 2010 hit, it was a complete tragedy. I had 3 guys, maybe 4 or 5, and we went to Houston and sold in that neighborhood back there and in Gainesville and shit, and we did all right. But the point was, we went to Wild Bill's every Thursday. We fucking partied all over town.
Wild Bill, shout out to my wife Megan. That's where we met at.
Oh, what's up?
10 years later.
What's up? My first date was at East Side Station.
Oh,
so
man.
Don't even get started. My point is, like, I was a fucking joke, dude. And I was, like, hungover every day. I was foggy-headed. And, basically, I knew at that point, I'd traveled a lot, that I wanted to meet the wife of my dreams. I wanted to figure out how to get settled in. And I had a girlfriend at the time, but I knew it wasn't the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And, I can just remember, like, just knowing in my head that I was seeking that. And because I knew that I needed a little bit of, like, solid ground or some extent to work off of. And so that, my wife was working in the office. She was a telemarketer at that time. Like, before Facebook ads, we were doing a lot of voice broadcasting and inbound press 1 dials. It was crazy, but we had a bunch of leads, and she was in the telemarketing room. And, we got pregnant after dating after 3 months, and basically I asked her to marry me, and we got married, and since then, there's been plenty of times where, I could have quit, where I could have walked away, where she basically said, dude, if you don't change, I'm going to walk away.
Right.
And the bottom line is there's another great equalizer out there, and there's a lot of roofers, they don't really appreciate exactly what this is about. But here's the deal. A loyalty is to me one of the most important traits. And, you got drugs, alcohol, you got greed, but women that are cheating on your wife, getting caught, having to get a divorce, it's cheaper to keep her. And more importantly, the sanity, the stuff that you lose in the other realms of your life, it trickles. And what happens is, if you have any of those things, they will equalize you as a man. And, I'm not perfect. I certainly have, not actually been the best husband of all times. But one thing I've never done, I've never stepped out on my wife. And I think that's one of the things that has given me sort of, at least I've had other things that I've done bad,
But that needs to be the story, man.
Yeah, it does.
That has to be the
It
story.
is the story.
In fact, like I'm over here chomping at the bit because you're hitting on stuff that pulls at my heartstrings, right? Like legacy is so important. I remember when I didn't give a damn about what people thought about me. And at some point now, I still don't care. Like if you don't like me, hey, look, you just don't like me. I don't really care. I call them haters, having anger towards everyone reaching success, right? You got to hate me for something. But damn it, my legacy has to be what it is, and the story is what lays out. And I think that, us sitting here, it's even a conversation I had with you on the phone the other day, right? You are a different Lee than the guy I met 2 years ago. I can see it. I can feel it. And if I can see and feel that passion, then people need to know that story, man. People have to know what your legacy is. We can do all the good things. We can do 1,000 great things. Guess what people are going to remember? The one damn bad thing we did.
Yeah.
But that is not who you are. No. And for anybody listening, you need to understand that. I'm looking at you right now. You need to understand you can be a better you based off of creating the mindset of realizing you fucked up somewhere along the way, but you can always be better. That's not the story that has to be written. The story for Lee Haight that people talk about, the chatter you get, that doesn't have to be the everlasting legacy. You have the ability to touch more people than I could probably ever imagine doing in my lifetime, to work, because where you've lined yourself up in the industry. But how are you going to do that? What things are you going to put in place? Because now, especially once we announce that you're at RoofCon, right? And you're going to get some chatter out of that. Believe me, we've talked about it. We're going to get chatter out of it. But like I told him the other day sitting there when we had this conversation of laying the people out on the board on who we wanted there and who we wanted to speak, that's important to me, man. If we're going to create a conference, man, let's not fluff this thing up. Let's not make it sound like it's going to be great and wonderful. Like, let's talk about the real shit. Let's talk about the things in the industry that people fell on. People can hate on you all day, Lee Haight, but one thing I will sit here and tell everybody, and I'll back it up so I'm blue in the face about you, you put in the work.
That's it.
Nobody can take that away from you.
No. And the thing is that the work, it ain't what you think it is. It's reading books. It's writing copy. It's putting yourself out there, being vulnerable. And you know what it is? It's not giving a fuck what other people think about you. You know what? That's one thing I got over me that's God's gift. And if you want to step up and be somebody, you got to create some fucking haters. And Grant Cardone told me, dude, if you don't have haters, you ain't doing nothing. And all you are that matter to me on social media, there's 2 posters in my office. One says that smooth sea never made a good sailor, and the other one says the man in the arena. And the man in the arena ain't concerned with the pussies in the stands, the snowflakes that are unwilling to advertise for profit, unwilling to make video, unwilling to create the content, and unwilling to create any type of actual storytelling environment where your purpose is on display for other people to beat you down. We live in a society where people would rather cancel what good people do. Yep. They want to cancel me out the way they cancel a fucking Southern statue. They want to cancel out the fact that all these things that I've done, because they are unwilling to tell their story. And it's not just the people that are my competing consultants, and it's not just the people that are my competing roofers. It's every motherfucker on the goddamn social media that is getting the life sucked out of their fucking human soul because they're unwilling to learn how to be a marketer. Okay? And you know what? Everybody doesn't like what I bring to the table sometimes because it challenges them, and they look at themselves and they're like, man, I'm just fucking getting sucked in here because I'm not afraid what the fuck you think about me.
Woo! Fire, ambition.
So I think it can go real simple, whether it's your competition in the consulting space, the roofing space, whether it's your students. Most people just don't want to execute, man.
That's it.
They just want to talk about ideas. They want to be visionaries. They want to say how they're going to do this, how they're going to do that. Anybody can buy your course, and if they just do the work, they're going to get an ROI. They can buy any course out there. It don't matter if it's some jackleg that don't even know what he's doing. Some guy that's new at building funnels.
Winners are winners. Losers are losers. I was here sitting right here. Somebody drove in. It was the beginning of Corona. And I made a special trip. I was out, my buddy Jeremy Kinsworthy, I was on his big old yacht. We were in Florida Keys hanging out at his house. And that day, Jeremy, I was supposed to go fishing. He caught a rooster fish, an African pompano, like 2 exotic sea fish that I would have loved to brought in. But instead, Dimitri came here to interview me. And it was a good interview and it was good content. But at the end, he slid in the fact that, Lee, the market says Sky Diamonds is not worth it. And I had to explain to him, man, it's like, hey, bro, 40% of the people that buy coaching don't even open it. I can show you the stats. I mean, I can literally show you the stats.
Yeah. But nothing's worth it if you don't put the work in.
Exactly. And so, there's a buzz that comes about when you like to throw rocks at other people. And one way I'm not going to make a name for myself is basically talking shit and breaking other people down, because that's what weak people do.
Yep.
You don't see any millionaires, any multimillionaires that are out there making a name for themselves.
Dude, you know what comes to mind just thinking about that?
Yeah.
Is I always think about I've watched this movie 1,000 times just because it fires me up. 8 Mile, man.
Yeah.
Marshall Mathers, Eminem, right? This dude got to the point to where he was so vulnerable that he put every bad thing out there and was like, okay, what can you say about me now?
Don't make me start rapping.
What can you say about me now? What bad juju?
Don't make me battle fucking Dimitri on the microphone and crush his life, because he uses them beats on his fucking music. But the thing is, the man said, I don't want to grow my business. I just want to do YouTube. And by all means, if that's what you want to do, great. Look,
but if
man,
his sector is that, and he don't want to grow a roofing business, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's not.
But you got to buy into the system all the way. Like, I'll be the first person to tell you, my goal is not to be a roofing owner in 5 years.
Ironically, what's funny? I reached out to Dimitri and I said, me and Deshaun want to contribute to the conference. And you know what he did? He didn't fucking respond. And you're watching this now, Dimitri. Maybe you could reach out and you could respond to that same fucking group text, dog. Because I could have spoke at your conference too. But now I'm exclusive here, tied up.
We're going to move. Hey, look, this is a movement, man. This is a movement, and this is the passion for me. Hunter's been so gracious to let me be a part of RoofCon with him, and it's like, what do you want to get out of it, man? Dude, if I speak to 1,000 people at this event, if I can get one person to catch attention to what I'm talking about and they can change their life, then I feel like I won. I feel like that what God put me in place for was to reach that one person. And that's something that's so big to me. And like you said, like, it takes a team to build a village, man. You ain't going to do it by yourself. And for all the people that are listening, you got to understand, we're putting ourselves in a vulnerable position. We're putting ourselves, like, we know, like, without a doubt, we know how much slack we're about to get back on this with RoofCon, with Lee Haight being there. But you know what? This is the exact thing I told Hunter when we talked about it. If people don't want to be there because they don't like Lee Haight or any other groups, the Jim Johnsons, the Pate Smiths, me, whatever it may be, then don't be there, because that just shows how small your mindset is to be able to grow as an individual.
There's only one reason that people don't want me there, and it's scarcity. It has to do with the fact that it's a roofer that's worried about me taking their people, which my intention is to just help everybody. And look, guys, here's the deal. The man with the best message wins. Build the best vehicle, and if you give people a place to grow, they won't go. That's the bottom line. All right. Number 2, like, I think that, like, my polarizing personality and the fact that I'm always trying to grow my businesses is intimidating. And I just want you to know, guys, I'm ADD, I'm unorganized, I'm very passionate about what I do, but I failed so many times. I've been doing this so long, I should have been successful a long time ago.
Do you think I
mean, if you've been doing this for 3 years and you got an 8-figure business, right? I've been doing this for a long time, since 2005. And for me, that's a representation that I could have done what I did way earlier, right? And if you're watching this right now and you want to know what is Lee gonna ask of me at RoofCon, here's what I'm gonna ask of you. I'm gonna ask that you leave all of your limited beliefs at the door. I'm gonna ask that you get completely intentional about what you're trying to accomplish. If you want to be able to advertise for profit, to be able to build wealth, then you come in there with that intention. You want to be able to create an automated recruiting machine. You want to be able to train a team of door-to-door champions. You want to be able to sell commercial. You want to be able to scale to 8 figures, make 7 figures in profit. You want to be able to live the life of your dreams, have the time with your family, have quality of life while you're scaling without going crazy. Then listen, you can have it both. There's no such thing as balance. You go all in on the good and you starve the bad. And there's no limits to what's possible. All I'd say is come to RoofCon prepared to start getting challenged to tell your story. Come to RoofCon to get prepared to start taking on technology. Otherwise, technology is going to take you on. And come to RoofCon just prepared to collaborate to dominate, because you brought in point. The way I've changed in 2 years is I've been coaching my clients and clients been coaching me. And what happens after 5 years, you're starting with a roofing mastermind, you're starting with a group. We've been doing this. This is going to be our 3rd event that we do this year. It's going to be later in the year. We got some big names. But more importantly, throughout this journey that my clients teach me, whether it's Chris Ranlett, how he teaches me about how he does the leadership, or it's J.R. Garcia that talks about how he does his cash flow and collections, or it's Tyler Melton with how he has his turnover chain for his, or it's, basically Classic Roofing and their Indeed system and the way in which we use Zoom and automated follow-up. What happens is a mastermind is a collaboration of all the minds, and it's the collaboration of all the best systems. So not only have I been paying people like Ed Milet, Andy for personal coaching, Russell for personal coaching, Grant for personal coaching, Grant Cardone's digital marketers, people that are all in these spaces and applying it, but I've been learning from all the good roofers. Plus, I've spent a lot of money on ads, and with that comes tests and comes an example. And so what I feel like is that what I bring to people now is the fucking results. And you know what? That's why we're here, because you the personality may be a lot to handle, and I understand, and I'm grateful that y'all are here, and I appreciate you putting up with my personality and my passion.
We want the real, man.
But
and that's the problem. Like, and I hate to keep interjecting, but you're hitting on points that need to be touched, man. People need to know you. Mm-hmm. People need to know me. Mm-hmm. Like, I challenge everybody that's coming to RoofCon to the goal is to have 1,000 people this year. I told Hunter I want to knock that out of the wall. I want to fill the room up with 1,500 people, 2,000 people, with the greatest minds that can collaborate. So I challenge people right now. Let's talk about vulnerability. Let's talk about you telling the story, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of people only connect Lee Haight with RRCA and Sky Diamonds. They don't connect Lee Haight with the husband, the figure, the whole 9 yards. Bro, that's a lot of weight for somebody to wear on their shoulders. Dude, I wear it every freaking day. So I'm challenging people right now, and what I'd like to do, if we can do this, I want to create a movement that builds up to October 15th to the 17th at RoofCon in Houston, Texas. I want people to start going on the RoofCon website, or even with you, and make a testimonial. Do a 1-minute video, a 2-minute video. Become vulnerable, so when you walk through the door, like you said, when you walk through the door, you don't have anything to hide. The only thing you can do at that moment is be open-minded and come in with a full heart, so that you're leaving with something. You ain't got to leave with it all, but you got to leave with one thing. But if you don't come into that mindset because you're not okay with being vulnerable, then maybe this isn't the conference for you.
It's not for you, man.
It's not going to be.
The thing is if people don't want to come because Lee Haight's going to be there, or Jeremy's going to be there, or Paul Reed. Hell, I got people texting him. I had a guy text him the other day, say, "Oh, that Hunter Ballew, he's a con man." So I get it, man. You're going to have people that don't like you, that don't relate. We're all going to connect with our own tribe. We're all going to attract our own tribe, and that's okay. If they don't want to come, if they're too shallow to come and see you speak and learn from you, there's something to be learned. No matter if they like you or not, there's something to be learned from you. Paul Reed. Paul Reed's got a past. Jonathan Sherwood, Eric O, all those guys, man. But I respect them, and I love them, and I care for them.
Will Miller, and that dude is a beast. Priority Roofing's growing to like $25 million. They're an elite client as well. Jonathan's a badass, but I think Will also has a story to be told. Very coachable contractor that's really killing it in Texas. I have such a strong base in Texas. If you're watching this from Dallas, from Austin, from San Antonio, from Houston, I expect you at the RoofCon. Sky Diamonds is going to meet the day before. We're going to have a kind of team get together there in Houston. I have 6 different companies in my elite group from Houston. There's about 200 salespeople in all those companies. Probably in all the Texas companies, there's 1,000 salespeople total. But my point is that if you're a part of Sky Diamonds, if you're a part of the elite program, I expect you in Houston. What's the date?
October 15th through the 17th.
October 15th through 17th. And, I'm going to be doing a breakout. I'm going to be speaking from the stage. I'm going to be having a booth. But more importantly, we're going to have a get-together where we break bread, we talk, we shake hands, we really get to the bottom of how you're doing with these tough market conditions. And if you want some productive things to do before the event, I'm going to give you two things. The way in which I found my voice was going live. And Hunter has an awesome challenge. It's called Fearless 44. I'm doing 75 hard right now, so doing 2 challenges was a bit much. I kind of dropped the ball on your challenge. But the 75 hard has been kicking my ass. But that being said, one thing I like about yours is you go live every day. And go live every day is how I found my voice. I found my comfort, the ability to tell my story by going live. I think it's something that everyone should do. The second thing I think you should do is you should pick up my book. You should go to contractinggrowsecrets.com. I have written a relative way to scale in today's market and to use digital marketing, to use door-to-door, to have an unfair advantage. It's a quick read. It comes with an audiobook if you don't want to read it. There's a course with it as well. You can get it for very, very cheap. You can go to contractinggrowsecrets.com. All you have to do is cover the price of shipping, $7. That being said, read the book and take Hunter's challenge, and you'll be prepared. You'll be prepared physically, mentally. You'll be telling your story.
Yeah, so, man, I just want to know 2 things from you. What attracted you to RoofCon? Because we've talked about that a little bit.
It had to do with you. Had to do with your background as a marketer. Had to do with your culture at your company. Had to do with who you are as a human being. You were on the same day as me last year. So I didn't do it on purpose, but we basically released at the same time, the same dates. And I'm like, had this tough decision to make last year. I'm like, fuck. I called my team. I'm like, dude, they just announced they're having a conference on the same day. And my marketer says, you're not a pussy, Lee. Don't fucking change your date. And I didn't. And I fucking didn't. And now, a year around, I'm like, man, I was watching all this conference. I was like, man, I'd like to be a part of that group. Those are some good guys. There is, like, I help Proclaim in Texas. So Sam, it's like blue versus red, Crip versus blood. I'm on the Crip team. All right. So Sam may not want me there, but I love Sam. I think Sam's got a good thing going on. Crip versus bloods. I got them Crips. What's up?
And then what are you going to bring to the table? What should people expect from you?
I'm going to bring the blue collar marketing method, which is my method at generating leads through the videos without sales funnels. It's the hidden damage build video, testimonial video. I'm going to be going through my scaling blueprint. I'm going to give you a copy of it, but basically 11-phase step process to build an 8-figure business like clockwork without having to like dip into your pocket or do a bunch of crazy shit, having a bunch of crazy recruiting skills, training skills. This is for anybody. If I could take an ex-firefighter in the first year and scale them to a $3 million company, then I can build an 8-figure business for any coachable guy that will make the videos, that will show up to the training. So I'm going to be basically talking about, my failures of not having great leadership, not having great management, having cash flow issues, scaling 2 businesses in, coaching while I'm running a roofing company. I'm going to tell you about behind the scenes you never heard about, but I'm also going to show you how to build a door-to-door sales team that can go after commercial, that can go after high-end residential. And there's a lot of coaches out there. You can love me or hate me, but I will really work hard at both creating the content that demonstrates you value, but also creating the frameworks, the courses, and the information. And then people in my position that are doing, like, next year, if I'm not in the top 10 in the roofing business, then I'm pissed off. And so many of you are trying to get in the top 100, and people that are in the top 25 trying to get the top 10, they don't release secrets like I release because it's too sensitive. As a matter of fact,
Scarcity mindset.
People in my own network, CMR, for instance, they got the benefit of my program because I taught a guy how to do everything and had him trained inside of my system, Cam, and then he went off and went to go work for them. So even my biggest competitors who hate on me in public, who say I'm a fraud and comment every time that I'm a joke, they still use all my digital marketing strategies against me in my own market. And the idea is like, look, collaborate to dominate. There's going to be some times where the competition does get a leg up. But if the competition gets a leg up, that gives me a little bit of motivation to go 75 hard. That gives me a little bit of motivation to dig deep. And you know what? I want to be the best version of myself.
Yep. Amen to that.
I just want to win. I don't care if I use someone else's method or maybe if I'm a team, I'm a part of a RoofCon team. All I want to do is win. And if you want to win in your roofing business, it looks like surrounding yourself with people that are going to hold you to a higher standard. a higher standard to learn how to become a marketer. Because if you don't learn how to get business from Facebook and Google, if you have to pay other people to get your customers, then you're going to go out of fucking business, okay? You're watching this eye to eye. You think you're going to be solely door to door and word of mouth forever. There's too many roofers. We're going to keep multiplying like rabbits, and eventually you're not going to have shit, okay? Second of all, you want to keep doing little podunk bitch, little small jobs and making a little podunk money? I mean, Jeremy, what happened when you started fucking with me?
It went to another level. I mean,
commercial. Talk to me about what you sold to commercial since then.
So shit. What's it been? 2 years now?
2 years.
2 years. We got in our pipeline right now in the last 2 years just some commercial, just dabbling in it and taking the practice we put in place. We got $6.5 million sitting right now that we're just waiting on checks to be released. Last year, we did like right at $3.5 million just in commercial, and that was our first year really dabbling in it. And so next year, we're trying to project just on that side of it, trying to at least hit $20 million just in the commercial side to add to inside the entity. But like you said, it was the mindset that had to go into it and buying into the system and understanding that even if it's a big job, they kind of play out the same as the small jobs. It's just on how you kind of portray yourself and the vision that you give to the people you're trying to deal with. And when you can have that mindset and ability to be coachable behind it, you will take yourself to the next level.
Guess what's going to happen by October?
What's going to happen by October?
You just guess.
Hurricane, baby.
Oh, yeah, hurricane season. Hey, by the way, just put that out there. I got about 9,000 squares of shrink wrap. So
me too, motherfucker. I got shrink wrap too, motherfucker. On my show.
I need to get this shrink
that
wrap
goes
out.
RCA, motherfucker.
Yeah. So we're going to listen. October comes. We got plenty enough shrink wrap to put out there for EMS to get on the flow of things, and even with you guys. Here's the things. Like, people have to understand. You have to be willing to be open minded, man. Last year, where a lot of my commercial contacts came from last year. Other roofers, man. Other roofers, guys taking on jobs that they weren't capable of taking on and didn't know how to do.
Well, I think the biggest problem is they're scared and they don't want to ask for help. Like you're talking about, like, pride is a motherfucker. You need to let go of your pride and you have to ask questions. You have to be able to say, hey, can you help me? It's okay to ask for help, because I'm going to tell you, like, getting into the commercial world, where I was at, Soderbergh, we weren't doing that much commercial. We had a little bit of commercial, but had a great mentor, and all I did was ask questions. Hey, man, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And I didn't have to be the expert. I had to surround myself with the experts. And if you're willing to open up your mind and actually ask for help, people are going to help you.
I tell people all the time that I deal with, I have contractors in Georgia that call me all the time, new startups, people that I've worked with before in the industry that see us growing to another level and the mindset we have behind it. And they're like, hey, can you help me? I can absolutely help you if you're willing to listen, if you're willing to take the steps to move forward with it. But the biggest thing that comes behind it is, like you said, is putting the pride aside. Would you rather have a little piece of the pie or no piece of the pie? Because $1 million, a zero is zero.
I want to make everybody's pie bigger. Okay, guys, here's the deal. I got this goal and this intention that I'm going to fight a roofing badass. It's on my fucking deal here, okay? I've been going to boxing class, blah, 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 blah. One of the things that I think everybody wants to see is Lee get knocked the fuck out.
Well, you already put one. Well, you didn't get knocked. You didn't get knocked out, but the old guy gave you a good little jab.
He was a little bitch. Okay, you're 200. You're 200.
Yeah, no. The great part about that video too, by the way, leading up to you talking about wanting to do this boxing match, is the fact that I think that you need to use that as a promo to it. Yeah. Because if you've ever seen somebody get punched in the mouth and then just keep rolling into their sales pitch while they're going to get punched in the mouth again, it's probably one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Like, you legit took a lick to the face off a nice little jab, and you never missed a beat. You just kept on pitching the guy, and he was about to give you another taste, and you just kept on pitching the guy. And I think that's important. Like, that's a great little piece of marketing advertisement to use, because, dude, you're going to get punched in the mouth. You're going to have people that hate on you. You're going to have people that want to see your demise. You're going to have people that want to see you down, that your downfall. That's what it is. Like, you can be the greatest person in the world, but there's always going to be that one person that wants to see you fall. And I think that's a great marketing tool to use there, because you got literally punched in the mouth and you kept going.
And this is life here, guys. Whatever you think your biggest weakness is, write it down right now. Your biggest liability. Let's say you're shy. Let's say that you're an organizer and not a door-to-door guy. Let's say that you're good at door-to-door, but you're not good at leadership. Let me tell you something. Your biggest weakness can become your biggest asset, and that's what the fuck happened in that deal. I got punched in the face, I recorded it, and it became a slogan for the blue-collar marketing method. Learn how to advertise for profit so that you build a brand before you knock on the door. Learn how to generate income through just door-to-door. And you know what? I got punched in the face, and I'm grateful for it. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. And if you want to see me get punched in the face again, Jeremy Gilstrap right here, I owe him $10,000 on a back charge, but he didn't fix the doors. So you can get it back from me in the ring, and we'll donate $10,000 to charity. Whoever wins has to do the donation.
I know somebody that'll box you.
Who's that?
I think Dale Jr. will box you.
Ooh!
Dale Jr.
Dale,
huh?
hey, listen,
Dale.
law of attraction, baby.
Oh.
Law of attraction.
Let me tell a little story about Dale. Dale got in the roofing business. I taught him door-to-door objections in the door-to-door objection handler series. He's in the university. I got him in the roofing business, and Dale is a great guy. He's a great trainer. He's a great closer. And, you know, one thing about Dale is he's always game. He's always game. So, Dale Childress Jr., buddy, I really appreciate what you do for the industry. And anytime you want to get into a ring for charity, we got you, dude. We want to put more asses in
RoofCon,
the
and
seats.
charity, man. Roofers in recovery, man.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Like, and that's a big thing. Like, that's what
Yeah.
people need to understand. We're bringing here, man.
Yeah.
We're bringing the circle full scale.
Okay,
Like,
who else do we want on the fight card? If you're watching this on YouTube on my channel, who else do you want on the fight card? Me, Anthony Del Medico.
The word was that Anthony and Dale were supposed to fight at Win the Storm, and
Yeah.
Anthony hurt his back.
Who did?
So I think apparently Anthony hurt his back. So I think Dale Jr. would take you up on that if you want to get out of your weight class. Dale
Jimmy's out of
Jr.'s
my weight class.
Look, it ain't gonna be hard, buddy. All you're gonna do is have to run around for about a minute, and I'm gonna start sucking air, and then you're good to go at that point.
Look, guys, you do have to fight for something, and really, you got to usually find one person to fight for. And, you know, I want you to find that person right now that you'll do whatever it takes, that you'll fucking get rich or die trying for. And you got to put a face on it. And, you know, there's 3 people that you need in life. You need one person to mentor. You need somebody mentoring you. And you need someone to fucking crush. I mean, to fucking crush and annihilate. And you have to take a no holds bars to that. And, you know, I mean it in good spirit because I'm trying to extract the best version of myself, but, you know, I still want to win.
Is it possible to crush and annihilate yourself?
I mean, here's the deal. You can't give yourself a hard time about shit that's happened in the past. So the one thing I think that happened with Clyde is that he was beating himself up about not being a good enough manager, about having a bad partner, about not having to split the money or doing this or doing that. I have no clue what it was. I have no clue what he was beating himself up for. Sales guys, all this. I can't get into the mind, but I do know that when you scale fast and you have all these new successes, there's new. Basically, you have to live up to this expectation. And Jeremy, you know what it's like, bro. It's all the weight of the world on your shoulders.
It's tough, man.
It's fucking tough, man. And I carry the weight of my consulting clients, the 200 employees, and you know the reason why that I have to be a bigger person is because a smaller person would collapse by the weight.
Yeah. And I think that's important too, man, to point out. And like you said, is the weight on your shoulders as a business owner or as an influencer, whatever it may be, dude. We have to wear so many different hats. But one thing that we have to understand is the hats that we wear and we change out isn't a representation of who we exactly are. Like, I'm not the same person with my family that I am at work. I'm not the same person all the time when I'm out trying to influence other people to be a better version of themselves, because you can't always go into every situation with the same mindset, because we have to be able to diversify and be different in those areas. And like, that's what people need to understand, and that's what the RoofCon movement is for, is saying, hey, look, man, we all have our faults, we all have our demons, but what's the true story behind it? Dude, imagine being that guy that has to have all the answers. That shit's tough, dude. I struggle with that. I struggle with that on a daily basis. I don't have to answer to just myself. I have to answer to the 50 employees I have. I have to answer to the people that watch my content when I put it out about being Mr. Positive and things like that. And when you put that weight of the world on your shoulders and you make one hiccup, now you get crucified for it. That's the problem with the world right now. We want to crucify everybody, but we don't want to look at ourselves in the mirror. For the people that are coming to RoofCon, man, look at yourself. Look in the mirror, because your biggest competition, biggest competition is you.
Yeah, in the Arte Syndicate, that's one of the core values, is that you can't be the smartest person in the room. You always have to be coachable.